Welcome back to another episode of Game Brigade. I'm your host, Brian, and today on the show, we're taking a look at Massive Darkness 2, currently on Kickstarter. If you are new to the show, we do previews, reviews, and playthroughs of your favorite games, so if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing. Before we get to the actual Kickstarter, I wanted to say that we have a giveaway coming up very shortly. I actually talk about it in the video that'll be posted on the 6th. So I recorded that video previously, and then I realized I need to do a video for Massive Darkness. So this video is actually kind of getting squeezed in on the timeline schedule a little bit. So if you are new to the show, I suspect we're going to get a few new followers or viewers from this game. So please check out the next video on the 6th for details on the giveaway if you're interested in that. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump on over to Massive Darkness. So here we have Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape. Now, full disclosure, I have not played Massive Darkness 1. So I have no bearings in terms of gameplay, how the game works, or anything like that. And instead of spending 5-6 hours doing the research, which I normally have to do on a lot of these Kickstarters that I haven't played, I wanted to kind of take this more of how I do shopping in terms of, you know, what do I look for in a game when I'm backing it. So I thought that might be kind of fun. We haven't done that before on the channel, so let's go and start it. So the first thing that I wanted to do was actually watch this video. I haven't clicked on this or watched this yet, other than testing the sound to make sure it doesn't blow your guys' ears off. So we're going to go ahead and watch this together and kind of get a reaction, and then we'll talk about the campaign. So let's see how this looks. Okay, the sound should be relatively good, but we'll just turn it down just a little bit. I love the music so far. Okay, I'm assuming that's got to be the first game they're referring to. That's badass. I love it. Reminds me of Diablo 3. Yeah, that's the vibes I'm getting right now. I have heard that Massive Darkness has, let me turn that down a little bit, some cartoonish art. It doesn't, well, it kind of looks like it now. It didn't look like it in the beginning. Yeah, look at her. Wow. I mean, those guys are kind of cool. Okay, so obviously some dice rolling effects will be in this. It says use the shadows, so that's probably going to be a gameplay aspect of this. I love looting my foes. These are all things I like so far. I would be a paladin. That's me. 100%. Dude, this music, I'm vibing. I'm digging the music. I like that. Unique powers. To bring an end to the darkness. Ooh. Higher levels. Do you level up? The Corrupted Choir of Angels. That sounds really cool. I couldn't pronounce that name. Wasn't even going to try. Whew. Heaven Fall. Campaign. Wow. Awesome. Cool. That was pretty freaking sweet. So, what do you guys think of that already? Pretty sweet little video. So this is being produced by CMON Games. We are currently on day 20. We're at 1.154 million. We have almost 10,000 backers, so 9,520 backers. So before we get into this, there's a few things that we obviously know. Whenever we're dealing with a CMON game, we know that the price is probably going to be around $100, usually $120 sometimes for their games. And generally they drop an all-in or a gameplay all-in package around day 5 left in the campaign once they basically announced all their expansions. So all the pledge levels in this video is going to be a little outdated, obviously, when this campaign goes a little further on, because there's just going to be so much changing. In terms of the value of looking at a game like Massive Darkness, I've done a little bit of research prior to this video. That was the only thing I did, was I did a little bit of research in terms of the cost of the game and how much does it cost to buy Massive Darkness 1 at retail. You can currently buy Massive Darkness most media like retail outlets for around $100, and all of its first expansions are between like 30 and 40. But I went back to the first campaign and checked the prices of all those things. The only thing that is a little less expensive is obviously the core game is less expensive, but you're not getting all the Kickstarter exclusives. So it's less expensive by like $10, but you're missing a huge amount of stuff. And then all the expansion packs were about $10 more expensive at retail. So we already know, based on our history of almost every single CMON Games that we've backed or resold in the past, that this game most likely, depending on the gameplay function and how well this game plays, is probably going to have really good resaleability. You're not going to lose money on this. If you buy it, you buy some stuff and it doesn't end up being your cup of tea. So that's something that I always feel relieved about when I'm looking at a CMON game. So that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the campaign. So returning, they're going to have different types of rewards in this. They're going to have, I believe, daily unlocks and I believe monetary unlocks. So a lot of stretch goals are going to be released. And so this looks like we already got some sort of monetary stretch goals coming out. And in CMON Games, especially in like Bloodborne, I believe it was Bloodborne, they had branching off tiers where we got to vote in what direction we wanted to take some of the exclusive content. And that's the other thing. So CMON Games is going to have a huge amount of Kickstarter exclusives. So in terms of value, you're going to be seeing a lot of it here if you're going to be back in this game now rather than waiting for retail. So I kind of brought up the branching paths because it kind of looks like this, not as clear as they've done it in the past. So I don't want to say for sure of how this is going to be looking, but it looks potentially Kickstarter exclusive, and they might be doing this little K to represent Kickstarter exclusive. Normally they have a little band on it. So let's go and take a look. So they revamped some rules. If you were looking for a really good video in terms of discussing this, I would check out the King of Average. He did a really cool update to Massive Darkness 2. I'll put that link to his video in my information down below. And there's usually a whole bunch of information down below if you're interested in my camera equipment or anything I have. It's always down there, as well as timestamps. So I always recommend to new viewers, check down there. So classes, we have the Berserker, the Ranger, the Rogue, the Wizard, the Shaman, and the Paladin. Pretty standard in terms of classes. I would expect we're probably going to get one or two more in terms of stretch goals. I'm a paladin. I'm a white knight, so I always play this stuff. I'm so boring. My wife tells me I'm so boring because I always pick paladins. But what can I say? So here we go. They're just kind of leaning more. And then we have 56 mobs. So CMON Games usually has a wealth of minis, so expect that as well on this one. These minis look really good. I'm really liking these. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the way these look. The undead mobs, the skeleton mob. I really like these fallen angels. These wings are going to be great. Really good, great painting options here to be able to do some feathering on that. I really think that'll be fun to do. And then they have roaming monsters. Don't know what that means. Probably a gameplay aspect. Be interesting to know. And then they have some bosses. They have Archangel Michael. I actually just had my Michael painted for Joan of Arc, so that'll be kind of fun to have a different variation of the Archangel. And then the Reaper. God, these minis look really cool. I sure hope the actual physical minis come close to looking like that because they look really nice. And then we have the components. So from the video, I noticed that the components were kind of in a plastic container, and that looks like that's what we have here. And we have a whole bunch of components here. Now, generally, we've seen component upgrades as either a buy-in or a stretch goal. Generally, they are a stretch goal, but you have to buy like an additional buy, and then sometimes they'll include it in a higher level a pledge level. So expect some sort of upgrade components here for the tokens. Generally, anything that's cardboard or anything to be upgraded. So we have some dice, got a lot of components here, a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. And then we're going to be going down now to the campaign. So Heavenfall is the campaign expansion to bring a whole host of heavenly enemies and challenges that the Lightbringers will need to face in order to keep the darkness from corrupting paradise. I think it's cool. I think anytime we can take our gameplay, especially if it's just doing scenarios, and we're able to form it into a deeper campaign with an overarching story that keeps generally the people that I play with more engaged and allows us to kind of keep the game nights going. So I'm super stoked about that. Sucks that it's going to have to be an add-on. I'd love to see it built into the actual game, but it sounds like it's going to have to be an add-on for that. So that's probably right here, the pledge level down here. So, and then these are going into the actual expansion, the Heavenfall expansion, for what mobs these guys will have, as well as its specific boss. So that's great. And then the town dashboard. I suspect this will get an upgrade. Not for certain, but I suspect. And then they have the upgrade pack. So it'll upgrade all heroes and monsters from Massive Darkness to Massive Darkness 2. I've noticed already that both the upgrades currently have this upgrade pack included. So that's great. If you are an original Massive Darkness owner, you just got a free little bonus pack, which I think is great. And here we're going into the millimeter size. So this is great. So 32 is usually the average size for millimeters for most minis. So we actually are going to have a wealth of different size minis. And this is huge, 134. Wow, that is massive. Talk about a feature. I mean, that's going to be up on my wall where all my other minis and stuff are. Okay, so pledge levels. Currently, like I said, this is going to be outdated relatively quickly, I'm suspecting, just knowing the publisher of this game. But we currently have 2 pledge levels. The Hellscape pledge for $100, which gets you the Massive Darkness Hellscape board game, as well as the upgrade pack. Or the Heavenfall pledge for $145. This is the one I would be looking at because I think the Heavenfall would be adding that needed campaign that I would really want. But I'm also a thematic player. You have to understand, guys, if you're new to my channel, I'm very much big about the thematics of the game and the story, and I want to feel like I'm a part of the world. So that's why I value this higher than, say, not having that, which is great. And of course, they're doing English and French, if that is something you're going to be interested in. So we're going to scroll on down to the shipping because that's usually can be a deal breaker for a lot of people. Actually, we're going to skip that. We're going to go to the rewards. So I mentioned they have some daily rewards. Here, they're going to have them here. We have some locked, of course, because we haven't reached those daily rewards yet. So I recommend if this is something you're interested in and you want to check out the daily rewards, keep checking out the campaign and see what they're unlocking. And the reason they do these daily unlocks, I think this is actually really brilliant in terms of a Kickstarter's plan. There's several different ideas in terms of how do we generate excitement for a Kickstarter so we don't get that mid-week or that campaign lull, which seems to always happen. So a lot of developers have gone from the monetarial-based Kickstarter stretch goals to daily rewards. So people are constantly checking in on each day. Well, what did I get unlocked? What did I get unlocked? But the problem with that is it doesn't really drive more sales, or it doesn't really want to push people a little further to get to the next stretch goal. Monetarial values will have people potentially pledging more money to try to boost the stretch goal, the value to that next stretch goal. So that's kind of this yin and yang fighting that the two have. But it looks like what they're going to be doing is just, hey, why don't we do both? Why don't we do the monetary stretch goals, which drives more excitement, but we'll have this daily rewards to keep people excited, especially through the lull when we don't have as many backers, because you're generally going to get a massive upfront group of people in the beginning, and then you get a massive group in the end, and the middle kind of sags. So this can kind of help, stretch this out a little bit further. I think that's kind of brilliant. And personally, I actually prefer these. These are more exciting for me as a backer. I always love seeing the next stretch goal and seeing our total, now you can't see it here, the total number, this guy up here, going up, and seeing when are we going to get the next stretch goal, when are we going to get the next stretch goal. So that's something that I personally like as a backer. So we've already backed quite a few already, which is great. It's just a bunch of minis. And as I said, they usually have these Kickstarter exclusive tags, and this is part of the reason why buying this at retail later is not as wise of a decision. And it's one of the biggest reasons why I actually have never bought a CMON Games at retail, because I know I'm just losing so much value that I could have gotten just by backing it on Kickstarter. So we're currently at the 130. We got some additional stuff, and then we're going to switch on down to the shipping. So most shipping for a game of this scope is usually between $15 and $20 for the US. Looks like that is remaining on schedule, so good for that. EU is a little bit more expensive than I like to see. Generally, I see the EU kind of similar, a little bit more expensive than US, but not by too much. But this one is significantly more. So for you EU guys, I'm sorry. Canada, not too bad. I hope it's not weighted more heavily on the 42. I hope you guys are closer to the 20. And again, I don't know much about the China, Singapore, Australian markets to give my opinion, but that is there for you guys to view if you need to check that out real quick. I recommend pausing it so that you can get all the information you need. So let's go on back at the top and give you my opinion of Massive Darkness based on what I see here. And we're going to switch back to me. So Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape is a game that I've been eagerly awaiting, but kind of keeping myself ignorant of the game in itself, because I wanted to kind of experience it during the launch and see if this was a game I liked. I think the idea of the game and what I'm seeing in some of the videos I've watched intrigues me. I hear the gameplay aspect of Massive Darkness was really good. I get nervous of buying so many of these high 40 plus hour campaign games because I have so many of those already, and some I don't even have yet because they're still arriving on the boat. So that's a little bit of my trepidation. But in terms of, does this game look like it's worth to back and get in on it? I think yes, would be my opinion. I definitely recommend people to check, is it going to be worth it for you? Is this a game you're actually going to play? But even if you buy this game and it ends up coming in about a year and a half and you end up not enjoying it, or you don't think you're going to play it, you can sell it and generally not lose any money. You could potentially even make some money. So there's a lot of benefits to this one. I definitely will be considering this one very heavily, if not back it, which I don't normally declare if I'm going to be backing a game in my reviews. But I've been trying to flesh out to see what you guys like more. Do you like it when I'm a little coy and not giving my opinion? Or do you guys want to know if I'm backing it or not? So let me know in the comment section down below. The question of the day for anyone who is still here: what do you like in terms of the biggest differences between Massive Darkness 1 and Massive Darkness 2, if you know? Thank you guys for checking out the video. If you enjoyed this and you want to see more, remember to hit that subscribe button. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. And if you really enjoy the video and you want to support us more than just subscribing, click the thumbs up button. It really helps the YouTube algorithm. It really pushes us further into the ether of YouTube viewers. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Brian. This is Game Brigade. I will talk to you all very soon.